In this video, I'll be showing you how to make this quilled Mickey decor. This is just a fun project that I put together one afternoon. Here's the supplies you'll need. You will need quilling strips, and in this case I chose the classic Mickey colors, but you could choose colors that match the room you want to put it in, or use a variety of colors for an abstract look. You will need Elmer's glue and a brush to apply that. Sometimes I apply the glue with toothpicks, that also works. You'll need a quilling tool like I have here, and stay tuned later in this video, and I'll be using it as well as another one that will help you complete this project even faster. I also use a circular border buddy to get my classic Mickey circles. Then you will need some kind of a background for your project, and I'm just going to use a square sheet of cardstock. I've already pre-cut this to fit into this cute, keep that same energy piece of decor that I picked up at Dollar Tree. You can use something similar to this to showcase your piece of quilling art, such as a reverse canvas or a picture frame that has depth to it. Another great tool to have is long nose tweezers. You can use your fingers, but these tweezers make it easier. In the description below, I'll put links to all these products so that you can check them out. So I have my piece of cardstock, and I'm going to test this to make sure that my Mickey will fit on here. And I'm going to grab a sheet of wax paper to work on. I like creating my projects on the wax paper. It makes it easier to lift the project off later when I go to place it on the cardstock. I'm going to do my border with black strips of quilling, and for the border we want a bit thicker of a paper. So I'm going to take strips and fold them in half and glue together to make it twice the thickness. When you're doing this, just be sure to keep it straight to get any of the air bubbles out as you go along. I'll be folding over and gluing 3 strips like this to get my classic Mickey border circles. Now I'm going to take each one of these strips and wrap it around my buddy. And as I can see here, it's a little bit long, so I'm going to go ahead and just tear some of this off. And now you've got a better fit. Then I'm just going to glue this together. And I'm going to add a little bit more glue on top to make sure this is nice and secure, especially since this is the border and I know how this Mickey's going to go. I can hide any of that glue in the center of this project. So make sure it seals good, but also make sure you take it off before it sticks to it. If you don't have a border buddy, you could use a rolling pin or anything cylinder. Now we'll do the other 2 strips the same. Typically, I would work this whole project on wax paper, but since this is a simple project, I'm just going to go ahead and put my border onto the cardstock. For more intricate designs, I definitely recommend keeping it on the wax paper until you're ready to mount the whole thing. Go ahead and put a little bit of glue on the bottom of these circles, and then I'll place it down. You can spread these ears out a little bit if you want. I opted for the hidden Mickey look, but you could space them out if you prefer. For this project, all of our quilling is going to be the same shape. I'm going to be using pegs, sometimes also known as tight coils in quilling. I will be making different sizes along the way in different colors. I'll go ahead and start here with a regular sized one. For this, I'm just going to be using 1 strip of quilling paper. Insert the paper into the slot on your quilling tool and start rolling the paper. I prefer to roll out away from my body. Some people prefer to roll in. Test both ways, see which one works best for you. As you're turning, keep your paper super tight and guide it to make sure it's even as possible. Then when we get to the end, we'll just put a dab of glue on there to seal it. Like I said, I use the brush, but you could use a toothpick here. And oops, I forgot here to rip off the end. Ripping off the ends before you glue helps give it a smoother seal, so it's not a sharp line where the paper ends. It makes your coils look better. So I'm going to finish securing the seal on this peg. Also making sure that it's lined up and even, and then I'll just pull it off. To make a larger peg, I'm just going to glue 2 of the quilling strips together. And for this one, I'm going to show you this amazing quilling tool. It's battery operated, so instead of twisting your hand, you just press the button and it's going to quill it up for you. So we'll do the same thing here. We're going to insert our paper into the slot, and then we're just going to press the button. Just be sure to keep your paper tight, but loose enough that the battery operated quilling tool will move. A lot of times I will hold my finger here as well on the side so that I can guide it and keep the paper straight. This may take a few times to practice to be able to keep the tightness and the control that you need. But once you get it down, this is such a time saver. So I'll put a link to this at the top of the description for you to check out. Now for a smaller peg, I'm just going to take one strip of paper and fold it in half, and then I'm going to tear off this folded end. And now I have 2 strips to work with. There are many different options with these pegs that you could do. You could make larger ones or smaller ones, or you could even mix the colors of your strips by gluing the different color strips together so that your peg looks layered or has like a bullseye look. You can mix 3 different colors together or 4. You have many different options. The choice is yours. For this project, I decided to go with just the solid color pegs. So I want to show you here so you can see the different sizes and how they match up. We have the half strips, the full strips, and 2 strips put together to make these different sizes. Now I'm going to go ahead and work up a bunch of these pegs. I'm going to leave a few strips not quilled yet, so that way when I put this together later, I can see what gaps I have in my project, and I can determine what size of pegs I need to make to fill in those gaps. I definitely recommend always holding back a few extra for this purpose. So now that I have a bunch, I'm just going to start setting these into my project, and this is where the tweezers come in great. Just add a little bit of glue on the bottom of your peg and start setting them inside of your borders. Now I've got all my pegs in, and I've decided I'm going to put one more here in the middle of these 3 circles. You could leave that gap, it's up to you. Now that we've got that finished up, we're just going to insert this into our frame. So I put some glue in here and I'm going to brush it around and get it as thin as possible. I want to make sure all the corners and edges are really covered. And I'm going to take out some of this excess glue because if we get too much glue, it could wrinkle the cardstock and leave for not such a good looking background. Probably should have grabbed a bigger brush here, but I'm just going to go ahead and use what I got on hand. And now all we need to do is place our cardstock in here. I'm going to press it down and make sure it's securely glued. This is a very simple and easy quilling project to add a piece of Disney magic to your home. At the end of this video, be sure to check out another easy home decor Disney inspired project I made using foam dice from Dollar Tree. And be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you can be updated when I release new videos.